Are you in fashion?
So the way I created this was actually draping a bag on the mannequin, and I completely re-transformed it.
It's for a particular mushroom.
Our collection is inspired in climbing, mountain climbing, yeah.
Societal obligations and sort of like expectations on being a man.
Spring summer collection, and which is for my own funeral.
Did you say for your own funeral?
Yeah.
My heels are killing me. Hi, I'm Sonia Sly, your host for My Heels Are Killing Me, a podcast that looks behind the scenes of the fashion industry, at the innovators, the business, and everything in between. ID Fashion Week is in its 19th year, and this year, well, I was amazed by the diversity of ideas and concepts. The show included designers from the US, Poland, Dominican Republic, Shanghai, Hong Kong, Japan and Spain, with homegrown talent thrown into the mix too. Now, what I love about ID is the immediacy of the ideas and inspiration, which derives from the cultural backgrounds of each designer. They're informed by their environment and everything that happens within it. Starting with Australian designer Elisa Hamoud from the University of Technology in Sydney, and her collection is based around cleverly constructed denim wear, but not as you know it. Each piece is unique and it's all about
Trans-seasonal trends at the moment. So with this jacket, for instance, you can wear this around your shoulders, you can wear it up tight, you can strap it around like how I've worn it. So this is allowing the customer to respond to it in the way they feel comfortable. And with these pants, for instance, you can wear it draped around the waist, you can take the top layer off and literally wear the pants on their own. So it's allowing the customer, for instance, to be wearing it from day to night. And then we have our white pieces, which are more conceptually created, where I've used a lot more drape and form to it, which was inspired by the bag and this idea of movement and mobility.
Okay, so they're almost wearing something that looks like a bag?
Yeah, so the way I created this was actually draping a bag on the mannequin, and I completely re-transformed it and put it together, and then whatever I draped, I created into this. So.
And the thing is, you'd never know that an existing bag was transformed to make the garment. Elisa says her process is
quite unpredictable, and it always is a surprise when I'm creating something. I never know what it's going to actually turn out.
So this was literally an existing bag?
Yeah, existing bag, and all these straps are its actual handbag straps, and I've just repositioned them so that can actually accentuate the waist and be functional. Acid wash and the stone wash is another key thing to my treatment. I worked with local Sydney washers. They were the last standing business, so it was really good to be working with them and collaborate. I started with a dark denim and it completely transforms using bleach and rock.
She even laminates some of it.
I just started laminating my denim, adding a sense of waterproof to it, like making it functional. That all goes back to my concept of migration. There's a sense of protectiveness in each of my looks, and that was a massive textile feature to it.
Elisa's story of migration is connected with her family roots in Lebanon.
There is a lot of war and struggle that was happening back when they were born there, and due to all these issues that were happening, they had to come through onto a boat to Australia. So that had quite a close tie to my own perspective of migration and having a home. I feel like it was a huge journey for them, and I wanted to kind of show that and replicate that in my collection. Tying my family roots with the American culture as well, there was such a great cross parallel, and it really allowed my denim to have a sense of monument to it. When I looked at migration, I looked at it more from a conceptual side, so the feeling, the movement, the sense of interactions. It always inspires me now because I know it goes back to my roots and what my parents stand for. They literally started from nothing and they created something out of themselves. So
what's your vision for how you want to be in the industry?
Well, I want to bring obviously denim back into the industry. I want to show how it can be something that you should invest in at a high cost and get the most out of the one piece. Through this collection, I wanted to also discourage overconsumption. I feel like you should be getting the most out of the one material.
And as well as entering ID, Elisa's been submitting her work for various opportunities, including one for denim brand Levi's, which seems like a perfect fit.
Yeah, so I've gone through this major process with them, potentially be working there for the summer break. So I'll be redesigning some denim jeans for them and bring them to the stores. So
wow,
really exciting. Yeah, that's the next journey. And then who knows after that. I hope to make it more international. Applying and doing all these types of competitions, I feel like that's the best way to get yourself out there on an international scale.
I want to try one of these.
I know.
Can you describe the concept?
回パッて見ただけでは分から
So
ない
as you can see, this is kind of like a round shape. A lot of details involved in this garment.
Kenta Nishimura is a graduate of Bunker University in Japan. Kenta is currently working for designer Issey Miyake, and his beautiful collection of knitwear features a series of hidden circular forms.
まあいろんな形入れて
And he wanted for people to see this garment and then go, oh, what's it that? How are they made? You know, that's sort of like curiosity and the questions he wanted to bring into people.
The way that you look at clothing, does it have a traditional Japanese aesthetic?
なんかこうまあ
So a while ago, he was told by his seniors, be more conscious about bringing the Japanese beauty in what you create. But he thought, because since he is a Japanese, whatever he creates, actually Japanese beauty is in there already. So he started sort of not paying extra attention to that aspect, but still in terms of color and so forth, because he's from Kyoto, from Kansai, what he saw in Kyoto, like a beautiful birds or the color of moss and like plant, so he tries to incorporate those in his collection.
見たこうなんていうんですかね鳥の色とかこう苔の色とかそういう
And next is something I didn't expect to find at ID.
My name is Margarita.
And
My name is Christina.
a duo from the Dominican Republic. And what's special about Margarita and Christina is...
Fraternal twins.
Yeah, fraternal twins. The twins have always been creative, apparently, and tell me their brother encouraged them to pursue fashion.
Yeah, so right now we're here thanks to our brother.
Why did you decide to enter ID Fashion Week?
That will give us like an opportunity to meet all the designers.
Yeah, networking.
Networking. We're so grateful to be here because that will give us like the experience. How is the
To be exposed to other people.
Okay, and where do you The collection consists of knife pleats, the juxtaposition of delicate organza, raw-edged ruffles, and the weight of denim to anchor it, all illustrating the form and texture of the turkey tail mushroom. Now, I just looked it up on Google, and they're like a series of scalloped fans with browns, blues, and orange threading their way through. God, I love nature sometimes.
So we incorporate different fabrics, different weights, like on top of it, like denim with organza. It so illustrate, like visualize what's a mushroom. So we also incorporate denim because it's more organic.
They've graduated from the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York, which is where they also reside.
Really competitive.
Everyone wants to be better, wants to like compete with each other.
To show by how awesome their collections are. That's how competitive it is in New York.
Why did you decide to submit as a couple, like as together, rather than do individual collections?
Because we want to be represented as twins, as a dual designer. So we want to collaborate in our thesis collection, and we asked our professor, and he allowed us to do it. And we want to be recognized as a duo, like the Olsen twins.
The designers behind luxury label The Row. So, how do Margarita and Christina work through the design process together? Are there arguments? Do they think alike?
We brainstorm first and we talk about what we should go first. Like we draw inspirations, pictures from internet, and we discuss what is best for our aesthetic DNA brand.
We want to be more like streetwear style, but maybe sometime in the future we might change our DNA.
We were thinking to be more gender neutral.
When you're in the process of designing, do you both feel that you share the same way of thinking?
We actually share the same liking and all the tastes. We just discuss it. We spend 24 hours together.
Yeah.
We go everywhere together.
We know like likes or dislike. Yeah.
And you think that your likes and dislikes are just as identical as you are?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's extraordinary.
But some people, they think like it's better for us to be separate and more independent. But
For us, because we grew up together as a twins, we will never be separate like in different classes. If we were in different classes, we try to be together in class.
yeah, it's more easier for us because if we feel alone, we can talk to each other. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Camila. I'm from Argentina.
Hi, I'm Micaela. I'm from Buenos Aires, Argentina. We are two fashion designers of the University of Buenos Aires.
And like Margarita and Christina, they've also designed a collection as a duo, and their label is...
Cumbre in Spanish means being at the top of the mountain, and for us is being at the highest point and also the journey that you have to walk to get there.
which is the theme of their collection.
Climbing, mountain climbing, yeah. And we have some details about the mountain and landscapes, Argentinian landscape like the Patagonia. And
we chatted about mountains and walking, and apparently it's just a thing that people do there. When in Buenos Aires.
Yes, she likes in winter and I like in summer.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
We like skiing, in winter, so that kind of landscapes are very beautiful.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So that is what... Unlike the others you've just heard, they have a different take on design.
With natural wool and synthetic wool and natural stones and also with vinyl.
But they also breathe new life into existing garments and completely reimagine and transform them.
You have also to create something new, but we believe that as designers, you must have a conscious mind.
Do you feel kind of conflicted about being coming into the fashion industry because of the idea of, excess consumption?
That's like a lot of things to everybody. We are like a bit controversial when you think about design because you are every moment you are bringing something new, but also, as I already said, you have to be conscious of what you are creating. So if you think who is the one that is going to buy it and why are you making it, that's like a more important decision than the designs only.
From here on in, what do you actually want to do?
We want to work with this thing, reevaluating clothes. So we want maybe have a brand of sweaters that you can bring your sweater and we customize it. Yeah, we think that's an interesting way to design.
Reimagining, and also you bring yours one and we give it another value. So. Yeah. I believe that everyone has some love with a cloth or a garment that you have in your house, but now it's rusty and you can use it. And if we revalue it, you can also start wearing again.
I think that's about it, really.
Really? And have you rehearsed?
No.
Okay, so you're just going to go on.
I feel like I'm
these
just going to go do it. Yeah.
Should we sit on some of these tall chairs? Dylan McCutcheon-Peach. I have pronounced your name correctly?
Yes.
Okay. Dylan is a Dunedin-based designer and a graduate of Otago Polytechnic.
So the idea was quite personal to me because I feel like, within my own personal life, I don't really feel like I fit into any of the stereotypes of a man. So I wanted to explore that for this collection because I feel like I've never actually designed something that's been this personal. I wanted to look at the idea of bringing out, the repression and try to explore that within the collection.
People talk about women being repressed,
yeah.
But how are men repressed?
There's so much societal obligations and expectations on being a man, I guess in the traditional sense of what you would consider being a man. Macho men, you've got white collar men or very rigid things that everyone expects a man to be. So I started looking into traditional tailoring and then so I sort of just expanded on the suit idea because, a suit is very pinnacle masculine item.
But today, in today's environment, everybody is accepted, right? You can be what you want. Or do you feel like there is still some kind of resistance about those sort of gender roles or gender identities?
I think it is definitely more accepting now. I guess media is, jumping on the train of bringing it out. But being from Dunedin, it's definitely still some resistance here. It's, a very conservative city, but also not at the same time.
So for instance, the back of one of your waistcoats has a bra strap. Mm-hmm. And that is such an intimate, personal thing to be attached to a male garment, isn't it?
Another thing that I looked at was society's objectification of women, and then took on the idea of the male gaze. That lingerie aspect came out within looking at that, trying to put it onto the man's body. I guess try to, subvert the gaze onto the man's body is something that needs to happen.
Does it make you look harder or look away? What have you found from people's responses to that piece in particular?
Everyone seems to like it, I think. I have had, a few people sort of laugh and be like, what is this? I guess you've got to stand by what you've made. So
Where do you, see your place in the fashion industry?
I want to go overseas and get into some sort of internship with a tailor and actually expand on, what I've learnt myself in tailoring. And then I think ideally I want to start my own thing and just do sort of tailored bespoke clothing for people.
Does the future of fashion and the way that it's moving, does that concern you, being in the industry right now?
I mean, it's a very daunting industry, that's for sure. It's very overpopulated. The environment is a big thing, and, it's a very ugly industry, and that's why I want to sort of, in the long run, only want to offer, bespoke things for people.
Basically making to order.
Yeah, that's really what I want, because what I've made for this is quite personal, and what I would want to make for people, it would be very personal as well, so it wouldn't make sense to have it other than bespoke. I don't know, I've always had my reservations with continuing, I guess, because, I guess that's the fear, really, of, failing.
While I'm hanging out backstage on judging day, designers are wafting in and out. There's excitement, tension, and relief. Lastly, I catch Sun Yin Wong, aka Hayden, who's just been in front of the judges with her collection, Rest in Pink. So, how did the presentation go?
Quite nice, but I'm too nervous.
Oh no, really?
Yeah.
Oh. Hayden's a graduate from Hong Kong Polytechnic University and currently works for a London-based menswear label. And let me preface here that her collection is completely the opposite to menswear. There's loads of embellishment and beading, all designed for...
Which is my own funeral. And
Did you say for your own funeral?
yeah.
Okay, that's kind of a slightly macabre idea. Where did that come from?
Oh, actually, because after I researched for the Howard's funeral, I think that they are quite boring and quite sad because the color they use mainly are white and yellow tone. But I believe that actually death is a blessing and a new start for every soul. So I think that is quite a happy thing.
Okay, so you want to kind of bring life to the moment
Yeah.
of death. You don't see it as something that's grim. You want it to be celebrated.
Yeah.
And Hayden's colour palette is a stark contrast to the traditional linens used at Chinese funerals. There's an explosion of bubblegum pink and crisp white with a layering of frills and the use of fine silver thread to make patches of woven organza, which Hayden says represent wreaths. Her hero outfit almost looks like a wedding gown.
It shows their love and respect to the people who pass away.
And how long did it take to make this?
5 months, because I have to hand weave all the fabric and I have to do the beading.
Did you weave these yourself?
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's like a silver elastic. Maybe let's have a look at one more piece. The coat and with the mirrored
It will
buttons.
be more wearable.
I don't look at this and go, oh, that looks like inspired by someone's funeral, Now, there's a ritual that takes place at Chinese funerals where fake paper money is burnt, and it's meant as a bribe to the officials at the gates of hell. And plus, those who have passed might need money to buy, more clothes once they get to the other side. No matter what the case, Hayden has taken that idea and translated it into her garments by weaving in gold and silver thread, which ties all of her elements together.
This is just like the texture of money, like a silver or a gold. Yeah.
So you're working in the fashion industry now, 1 year out. Is it hard to get a job in the fashion industry in Hong Kong?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes. Now I'm just a designer assistant, but if you want to launch your own brand, it's very hard in Hong Kong because too many new brands. It's hard to launch your brand, like 1 to 2 years.
Had you thought about launching your own brand?
I want to, but it's hard to do it. But actually, I would love to be a beading technician in the future because I love to do embellishment and the beading work. Yeah.
That was Sun Yin Wong, and congratulations to the selection of designers featured at ID Fashion Week this year. I'm your host and producer, Sonia Sly, and this episode of Heels was engineered by William Saunders. Now, if you haven't already, we'd love for you to subscribe to Heels, and you can do that via Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Radio Public, Podbean, or wherever you get your podcasts. Catch you next week.